Well, welcome back to another episode of the Cruise Conversations podcast. I'm Frank.
And I'm Michael.
And today's episode is episode number 86, and we're doing a recap of our recent Allure of the Seas cruise. Let's jump into it.
All right, Frank. Well, like you said at the start, we're back from our recent guys trip. It was a fun time.
It was awesome. I'm excited to talk about it with you guys. Before we do that, we got some cruise news.
All right, well, the first piece of cruise news we have is actually MSC is opening their Miami terminal. We saw this when we were flying your drone the other week.
You were like, you have to go make sure you get some footage of this MSC terminal. Dude, it looks really good.
And I don't even know if I realized it hadn't opened yet, because, I mean, obviously there wasn't a ship there the day we were there, but as the day recording now on Saturday, the MSC Seascapes actually there right now. People are getting on the ship.
Hopefully we can see some footage of people actually going through the terminal and like what the lobby looks like and everything.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying it's one of the largest terminals, a bunch of technology behind it. One interesting thing is the parking deck for it's actually a little bit further down the terminal, so they have like a free shuttle service that will bring the people boarding the ship over to the terminal. But yeah, so I'm excited to see their new terminal area here in Miami.
Another piece of cruise news this week, a big one actually, is that Norwegian's expanding their fleet. Over $9 billion in ships ordered from now until 2036. I can't even believe we're saying 2036. That's like 11 years away. That's so long. Starting in 2030. So they have about 5 years to start building these ships. They are going to be very similar in size to the Oasis class. So I think when I looked it up, about 226,000 gross tons, around 8,300 total people on board, which includes the guests plus the crew. So again, very similar size to Oasis class, and kind of is on par with what we've seen with Royal and Carnival and their ship orders over this same time period. And they're just trying to get bigger and bigger, and they're all competing with each other, which is great. So we're excited to see again what Norwegian announces about this new set of massive ships in the next 10 years, and we'll kind of keep you guys in the loop on that as well as we hear more information from Norwegian.
And then speaking of new ships, we have a bunch of ships that are coming out of dry dock right now. So one of them, we've talked about how the Carnival Sunshine wasn't sailing out of Charleston anymore. That obviously stopped the end of last year. It went into a $155 million dry dock.
Dude,
which is a lot of money. I mean,
especially for Carnival Sunshine, it's like
a ship from the 90s.
It's probably honestly on its like last leg. I'm surprised.
Yeah, but I mean, they put a lot of money into it. They added the Havana bar to this ship. They added a 2-story adults-only solarium. They've said a specialty Asian restaurant. I don't know if this is Gigi's Asian that they have on some of the other ships, or I forget if this ship may already had that. So be interested to see what they announced there. And then 181 new staterooms and suites added to the ship. So they upped the capacity of passengers on the ship, and it's going to be sailing out of Norfolk, Virginia. So yeah, I mean, like you said, it's an older ship, but I mean, I guess they still think it has some years left in it. So it'll be interesting to see what the upgrades look like.
So Norwegian Bliss, speaking of dry dock, also just finished its dry dock and heading to its new home port in Miami. They added a new Horizon Park public area. They expanded Cagney's Steakhouse in Teppanyaki, as well as they added a new elevated seafood restaurant. So that's a big dry dock for Norwegian Bliss, which is really, really cool, just to add new restaurants, new spaces, make what they have a little bit better.
The next ship, obviously, we've talked about Allure of the Seas. We were just on it on one of the last revenue sailings. It had like a charter after us, and then it was doing its transatlantic over to Europe. So it's probably ready on the way over there. They're putting $100 million into the ship. And I mean, they're replacing some of the stuff we enjoyed on the ship. So, we had Sabor still on the ship, Samba Grill, the Champagne Bar. A lot of these are getting like some of the stuff we've talked in the past, Mason Jar, the Pesky Parrot.
Dude, it's going to be
Playmakers.
Sweet.
Yeah, so they're really, I mean, this is probably the most out-the-date Oasis-class ship that was still sailing. So, yeah, it'll be cool to see the updates made to the ship.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. One kind of interesting one for Freedom class or even Royal Caribbean lovers is that Freedom of the Seas is in dry dock right now, and they tore down kind of like the Vintages wine bar. I know Chris went there on our sailing on Allure. Usually it's in the Central Park neighborhood. On Freedom, it was in the Promenade, and they kind of replaced that with a smoke-free casino. So we'll kind of have to wait and see what people think about that. Honestly, on our cruise, no one was really using the smoke-free. I mean, I guess it's nice for those that really can't stand the smoke. I didn't have a problem with it on ours. We'll get into all that, but I didn't really notice like the smoke was too bad on that. It's kind of split half smoke-free, half smoking. And I didn't notice like too big of an issue with it. But on Freedom, you'll now have that in the promenade. So
did our ship have a whole separate smoke-free casino?
Yeah.
Or no, where was it?
It was right across from like the comedy club. It was kind of
okay. I remember seeing it once now. Yeah, I think this is interesting. I think just having a casino up there on the promenade where you're going to have music from the pub, you'll be a small few steps away to go get you some Sorrentos for pizza.
It's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a definitely different vibe than just being like kind of like locked down in the casino.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, moving on from cruise news to some cruise deals now. You know, one sailing we have coming up, Frank, is a Utopia of the Seas May 2nd sailing. We have a bunch of people actually booked on this currently.
I would consider this last minute at this point. It's like 3 months away. You're starting to get into check-in time and booking shows, so it's coming up.
Yeah, and we actually, Jason, who we've had on the podcast, reached out to kind of see what rates were available, and we realized we still have some good Central Park balconies left.
We have like 12 left that we can book, and they're going to take them in the next 10 days. So
yeah, so if you're interested, reach out to us. We posted like a reel and some photos on Instagram. Shout out to Krista and Harold and Jason and Rachel. They've actually already jumped and booked this deal, so we're excited to hear about your cruise when it's done.
Yeah. Perfect. And then the President's Cruise is also on Utopia. This one's September 22nd through 26th. 4-night cruise going to Coco Cay, Nassau, and then a sea day. What's really cool about the President's Cruise, though, is that the Royal Caribbean CEO, a lot of big influencers, and probably a lot of people that maybe you guys watch on YouTube as well. I know you watch us, but other big vloggers and people will be on the cruise. It's a good way to meet people as well and kind of network in the cruise community if you do love Royal. They do a ton of extra parties. You'll find things they just don't do on other ships, like champagne guns on board and, solarium and different giveaways that they do. But we've got really incredible pricing. I think the average price we have is $2,000 less than what the website is.
Wow.
For like 4 nights, it's $832 a person, which is pretty pricey for it's Utopia of the Seas, but the normal price is like $2,800. So if you do want to go on the President's Cruise, give us a call, 704-313-8556. You can also text us or email us at cruiseconversations@gmail.com, and we'll help you get on this one. But super cool opportunity for those that do love Royal. It's a good way to interact with a lot of the higher ups in the company, and as well as getting some free stuff.
All right, Frank. Well, like we've already mentioned at the start, we wrapped up our guys' trip. I mean, we started planning this back in November.
Yeah, we did. This was actually, like I think we talked about, this was a, quote, free cruise for me. And I say quote because it was a casino booking, so it wasn't really free. I paid the money for it. But for us, it was free, which is really nice. I do want to quickly, before we go through all of our notes that we have, Michael, like this, when I was thinking about this in the shower, of course, all the good thoughts come to us. This was a good deal. I feel like people talk about pricing and things. Like, I looked back, not for us, obviously, because like I said, it was free, but Chris and Blake went, and they paid, we had a group rate, so it was discounted from what the website was, but I think it was $877 for 2 of them. Okay. And I was starting to think about that. Like, for per person, around $400, what did we get? How much do you really think like a dining room dinner, 3-course dinner is worth? To me, it's like, what, probably $50 is just dinner.
Yeah.
For like 3 courses, we usually got 2 entrees. So when you think about $50 just for dinner, plus your room, which they had an inside, all the other food you eat on board, like just the access you get to different activities. Mamma Mia, which in Charlotte was $300 for me and Scotty to go see it, but on board it's free. So like, to me, I just felt like this was such a good value. We're going to kind of talk a lot about that. But as you're listening, maybe we'll try to add this into our recaps of like asking people, how much did you pay? Just think this was like under $1,000, $877 for a 4-night cruise. So really, really good value for this trip. But yeah, Michael, so we started the day off. We were staying in Brickell area, and we captured some really cool drone shots. We woke up a bit earlier that day after getting in super late into Miami, and I brought my drone. I said, Michael, I'm going to bring this thing because it takes up a decent amount of room in the suitcase.
But if I bring it, we're going to go use it.
I said, we better use it because I brought it, and I just don't bother. But, dude, it was so worth it.
Oh, yeah.
I found this spot kind of like on the side of the highway, and we flew. It was kind of a sketch. I just had this guy drop us off on the side of the highway.
Frank was like, can we just get out here? And, I mean, obviously, Miami traffic, trying to get to the Miami Beach area, but the guy's like, oh, wait a sec, and kind of pulled over to the bus lane, let us out. I mean, but beautiful weather. I mean, I think that's one thing you're going to hear a lot throughout our trip is, I mean, you said your mom was sailing the week before. It was super cold.
Yeah.
Nice sunny day for you to fly the drone. And like you said, you captured some amazing footage that I can't wait for people to see.
I'm going to try to give it to you so you can put some, maybe you can throw 1 or 2 on this, so people that watch on video. But, dude, it was so fun. So that started off today. Then we went back to the hotel, grabbed the rest of the guys. You forgot like half of your toiletries, so we went to Publix and got that. And then at that point, it was around 10 o'clock, and we were like, we could go to breakfast or we could just head off. And I feel like we, at that point, were like, let's just head to the ship. There's plenty of food to eat on board this thing. We've already paid for it. So we headed to the port. And got there, around 10:30 maybe?
Yeah, probably got there about 10:30. They had like all the different like check-in time lines, but they were all open. So, I mean, you really just walked up. They said, come on in. I think Chris and Blake had a little fast lane access. I don't think it really saved them anything, but we got through security, and this is where I think you were kind of shocked a little, because for one of the first times in a while for you, they weren't boarding the ship yet.
Yeah, we got, like I said, probably 10:40 we were through at that point, so it took us 10 minutes to get through, which is, normal time at this point, and they had us wait. We probably waited, 20 minutes, but it felt longer because you're just sitting there, like, looking at the ship, like, I want to get on. Like, you can see it. You can almost taste the windjammer, but you can't get to it. And so that was a bit of not like a bummer, but just like you're going so fast, and they're like, please have a seat. And you're like, oh, because I've never had to wait. I always tell people, show up around 10:30, 10:45, and never had a problem, but maybe just they didn't clear it early as quickly as they could have that day. So we waited, then we got on board. No issues there.
Yeah, so we got on board and immediately just knocked out our muster stations, right? We kind of split up because me, you, and Ben were in one spot because we were in one room. Blake and Chris went somewhere else. And then we met up back in the pub, grabbed our first drink of the cruise. I think we had
espresso martinis with
a little
stout.
Bit of, on top of it. Great way to start the cruise. And then, obviously, like you said, we needed some food. So we headed down to Central Park to the Park Cafe. I know I had a nice little salad there. I had the little roast beef sandwich.
Oh, so good.
And honestly, it is a great way to start the cruise because, most everybody rushes up to the Windjammer, like the main buffet of any cruise ship. So, it honestly wasn't super busy down there at Central Park. So it was nice and relaxing. And then later on in the day, we actually did a little more snacking over at the El Loco Fresh on this cruise ship, which, is going to be one of the things that gets updated a little in the dry dock right now. It's called like El Loco Fresh at Wipeout Cafe. But the only food that they really have there is the Mexican. There's no other food there.
I know. I was thinking they would have like some burgers, but no, it's like literally just
El Loco Fresh.
It's the same thing on any other ship. I
guess have prints of El Loco Fresh up on the wall.
They've already started doing it, but I think that they'll probably. I would love to see if they add the bar. I think that's the one thing we're still waiting to see. Are they going to add the Mexican kind of themed bar up there with margaritas and stuff? Since they are getting rid of
the Sabor
downstairs,
and that's a good point because next to this area is where we were playing a lot of ping pong. And when you wanted to go grab a drink, you either had to go kind of up towards like the flow rider, the bar in the back of the ship, or you had a good distance to one of the pool bars. So
they need that.
Adding a bar there would be a good middle ground for people who were kind of doing the putt-putt or ping pong.
Yeah, so after we grabbed the snack, I think we went back to the room. It was around 1 at that time, and our bags were already there. Honestly.
Yeah, we saw them in the hallway. We snatched them.
We unpacked, which I was like nervous, honestly, about having 3 adults. We're big boys, right? We're all adult size people, and having all of us in one room. But dude, honestly, I was so surprised at how many hangers, how much space. Now, if it was a 7-night cruise, you actually brought hangers. I
brought like 6 or 7 just in case. I'm like, because you never know how many are going to be in there, and I'm like, 3 of us, we're all going to have some good amount, but we didn't even have to touch mine. I think we still had some extras that they provided.
The room had plenty of storage. We never really felt crowded. I mean, honestly, we were the clean boys. Ben was the one that threw.
Ben took over the whole counter, shelves.
It's like traveling with a woman. We basically had a woman. But it was it was really. Our room was great. We had the boardwalk balcony. This was the first time we've actually done one, and I don't think you've done one either. So I'm mostly either interior or ocean view balcony. But it was kind of cool to be able to step out and just look down, see what's going on. You can see the aqua theater, and then we had the view off the back, which it was kind of cool. We took our pictures every night out there with our outfit, but it was a good little view.
Yeah, and this is something I put a little further down in the notes, but I think it's a great time to hit it now. The kind of like the boardwalk balconies and even like the Central Park balconies was something I always kind of just saw as like an extra money grab from Royal, because I'm like, it's an interior facing balcony. But like you said, this ship didn't have the ultimate abyss off the back, so you had a view of the water out back.
Yeah.
But I think still one of the big pros of it is while people are getting ready, like you said, you can go step out, enjoy the fresh air. So yeah, like I said, I had a great time. I think Central Park balcony could be super cool, especially like in the evening time when there's the little band playing out there in Central Park.
Let me ask you this. Would you rather have the Central Park balcony like the ones we just talked about on Utopia, or the boardwalk balcony on Allure? I know Allure, like you said, doesn't have the blockage with the slides, but what would you prefer?
I think I would want to try out the Central Park one next because, like I just said, the music. And, I mean, it was cool watching the people kind of zip line above you. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's cool.
I think that would be more like relaxing, honestly, to see the park and just, the music at night is awesome. So after we unpacked, we went to the pool. We got our bathing suits on. We went straight to the pool, enjoyed the solarium, I think is where we sat down because we were like, do we want to do the sail away party? It was kind of loud. They're, playing music. And we're like, let's go enjoy kind of just some serene, chill vibes. We actually didn't probably pull out till, I want to say like 5:30 maybe. So we didn't even really see us fully pulling out at that time.
Yeah, because we were headed to dinner,
right?
Yeah,
we were heading to dinner. So we honestly at that point in the time, like between 2 and 5, we were hitting the bar pretty hard. I mean, we had drinks coming. We had our guy, every time he would come back, we were giving him another card and we had shots and drinks. So that was pretty fun. Really enjoyed just enjoying relaxing by the pool. And that was pretty much our first day. We had, the Aqua Show the first night. And we'll kind of talk about all the entertainment later on, but that was kind of the first day on board Allure.
Yeah, so moving on to the next full day now, we were in Nassau. You and Ben started breakfast at Johnny Rockets.
That was good.
We were trying to get a hold of Blake and Chris because we're like, are they up? Are they just not responding?
I can't believe these guys slept in so long.
Well, like we said, they were in an interior. They forgot to set an alarm, and it gets dark in those rooms. So I think we were still we were wrapped up at breakfast at this point, and they finally texted back, and I think it was almost like 10:30, I think.
Yeah.
Or 10:30, and they're like, yep, we both overslept. I was like, well, that answers that. So this morning we kind of went down to Central Park and kind of hung out here for a while. They kind of grabbed some food from Park Cafe, and we found just a nice little area with nice little loungers and kind of just sat there.
We sat there for at least an hour and a half. Yeah. And then I think we went back up to the pool deck and we played some ping pong.
We played ping pong for a while.
We played ping pong for a lot of time. We did that. I did the flow rider for a bit because they opened that one up in Nassau, which was really fun. Was this the day me, Ben, and Blake tried the flow?
Yeah, we tried. None of us lasted long.
No, you guys did great. You guys did great. It's all just practice. You know, the more cruises we book, the more you'll get better.
The more I'll get my 2 attempts, unless I book a training class.
And then I think we played some cornhole, but really just kind of took it easy this day. Enjoyed some of those things on, some of those activities around the ship. Yeah, and I think after doing like all those activities, we honestly ate a later lunch. So we didn't go up to the Windjammer till like 3 o'clock that day. And I thought personally the food in the Windjammer was really good. That was the only time I really ate at the Windjammer the whole cruise because we did breakfast somewhere else. Obviously dinner in the main dining room. But I thought the food was good. I think I got some different Indian stuff. I think I got some chicken tenders, some fries, a salad. Like they had a lot of, so they had this Mexican kind of corn, like kind of salad thing.
Salad.
Yeah,
that was
really
good. Yeah, everything we had in there was great. Like you said, we got there kind of like the post-lunch rush, so it wasn't like super crazy crowded in there. Found tables right by the window, and did that. And then I think we went back to the pool area, kind of got in the hot tubs for a while, and like you said, kind of the drinks.
We were watching people. Remember, we were trying to watch for
some
pier
runners. Yeah, I don't think there ended up being any. They waited a while. They were letting people.
It was like 30 minutes after, and they were still letting them on.
And people were just like walking. They weren't even like. Yeah. No pep in their step. Like just you see them walking up.
We're
the
bad
pier.
people because we were praying there'd be someone that would miss the ship. We're like, we just want to see us pull away and someone gets stuck in Nassau. Like that'd been hilarious.
Yeah, but like I said, we were in the hot tubs. We got ready for dinner that night. Now we didn't really mention night one. We kind of had some issues night one. Our booking, something happened where we were seated at different tables. I think the first night too, like me, you, and Ben were seated at 2 different tables. Just us.
Yeah.
Super weird. We don't know what happened. They fixed it all. Service was a little slower that first night, but then the second night here, they put us to a new table that we had the rest of the cruise, and the service was much better here.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll get to there when we talk about food. And then that night, we had the Aqua Show, which was also a great time.
Yeah. We did Aqua Show, we did casino, and wrapped up, and we had a really good day. And then the next day we were at Coco Cay.
Yeah,
dude, Coco Cay was great. We didn't get out there super early. Now I will call out, we had Oasis of the Seas next to us, so the 2 oldest Oasis class ships at Coco Cay together.
Yeah,
which definitely added to the crowds. So normally we've been to Coco Cay, you may have an Oasis class. and the Freedom class, or even maybe an older ship, but having 2 Oasis class ships together, it's over 10,000 people on the island, and you definitely feel it a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I think the only other 2 times I've been to Coco Cay, we were on a Freedom class ship. So obviously that's already one ship there that's smaller. And like you said, when we walked into Hideaway, I mean, we got off the ship a little later. We were taking our time. But even when you walked into Hideaway, you know, when we were there for your bachelor, we grabbed seats on the beach, but kind of more central to the pool area, like right in front of the pool. This time, I mean, the seats were already full, kind of all the way to the end. So we kind of got seats between the pool and on the rocks, which I think was great because we spent a lot of time up at On the Rocks again. I think it's one of the best places to spend time there at Hideaway.
This is my 3rd time. I went on Icon, I went with my mom, and I went with you guys.
Okay.
And I've always asked myself, like, why do they have all these seats? I mean, it's never crowded.
So even your Icon sailing wasn't that crowded?
No, I mean, nothing like that. I mean, not at all. So I was surprised to see that all the seats are actually taken. I was like, well, that makes sense that they have this many seats. We had 5 people in our party. We still found seats all together. They just weren't right close to, like you said, where we wanted to be. And even the lines for the food and the bars, no issue.
Yeah, I was about to say, service was pretty quick overall. I mean, like we said, we got out there later, so some people were having lunch earlier. Like, we got our lunch a little bit later. So, like I said, we kind of just walked right up when we were grabbing stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of space to go hang out in the pool. We were playing a bunch of the tabletop shuffleboard up at On the Rocks. Overall, I mean, just a great time at Hideaway.
Even the pool, I love the pool. I'm glad we did it because, like, it was the water. The ocean water was it was chilly like we predicted, and we enjoyed the pool. You could just sit in there all day. It's like, and it honestly was pretty clean for the number of people. So I was happy. I feel like Hideaway was a great day overall. And it's funny, people think like it's such a young crowd. It's not what you think. It's like, yes, it's the party or more party spot, but it's not like if you're in your 50s, 60s, even like there's not an age limit where I feel like you're going to feel out of place. Like maybe you wouldn't want to be like right by the DJ, but we were in the pool and we saw a ton of people in their 50s and 60s. So if that's you and you're like, maybe I'm too old for Hideaway, I don't really think you'll have a problem.
No, yeah, I mean, we were probably on the lower end of people there throughout most of the day. And another thing to point out, too, at Hideaway, you were saying, like, the DJ area. One big, and obviously this was royal listening to feedback, and we've talked about it in the past, but now experiencing it myself, the music kind of just being contained to the pool area, much better. Like, when we were there for your bachelor, they were legit pumping the DJ music all around Hideaway, down by the beach, up by the food. It was, like, hard to escape it, where now, I mean, you can go down to the beach and really just chill.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like at the bachelor party, I think we went and we all were like, it's too loud. I mean, even for us on a bachelor party and being hungover and stuff, I was like, this is too much. And if they really listened to feedback, and people don't really want that the whole day. So I'm glad that they are actually listening to when people say things. So the next day was a sea day.
Yep.
It was really nice just to wake up and have a sea day. I feel like if you do a quick trip like this, a lot of times it's just 2 stops and you're back home.
Yeah.
But to have that day just to relax was really nice.
And the thing, too, with us, since we, like you said, we sailed later that first day, we really didn't see us move until the sea day. Because, I mean, by the time we were moving on the Nassau day, the Coco Cay day, we were already at dinner. By the time we got to dinner, it's dark out. You're not seeing, I mean, you may see some ships off in the distance, but we didn't see the blue ocean until literally like our sea day.
Yeah,
so, like you said, we relaxed most of the day. We changed it up for breakfast this morning. Every day we had started at Johnny Rockets. Today we did the main dining room for breakfast. And I thought service was great. I mean,
service was like really, really good. We got our food quick. And they came around, they had the fresh squeezed orange juice, which is part of the drink package if you have it. We all got coffees.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. What'd you end up ordering?
I ended up ordering, it was supposed to be like a vegetarian bowl type thing. So it was like your eggs, cheese, but it had like zucchini and like bell peppers. I added bacon to it because I needed some meat in it, but I thought it was delicious.
Yeah, I had the breakfast burrito, and it came out with like this guacamole salsa, which at first we're like, what is this? But dude,
looked delicious.
It was so good.
So when I saw the breakfast burrito and it said, I was just expecting like the red, just
out of the jar
salsa, and then I saw what y'all had. I was like, oh wow,
that was
maybe
actually,
I should have had that too.
Yeah, it was good. That was really good. So nice. I actually preferred that, even though that's probably made in a mass quantity, like at that breakfast. The Johnny Rockets was great because it's like fresh and you're outside, and that's also just like awesome to be outside, and especially in January, you can't really eat outside in January. So at least in Charlotte, so that was really nice. But that breakfast was definitely, in my opinion, better than the Johnny Rockets breakfast, which kind of surprised me. But this day was a sea day, like we said. We didn't really think about that. I think when we woke up and we were like, oh, we're on a Oasis class ship, beautiful weather. We kind of started out the day again, like a little bit slower, had breakfast. We played some ping pong. I did some surfing. Then we kind of met up, and then we were like, oh, we should go get seats by the pool. At that point, it was almost noon. I think it was like 11 o'clock, 11:30.
Yeah.
At that point, everyone had already woken up. Everyone had already got their towels on their seats, and we had to do a couple of laps to find some seats.
To get some seats. And kind of the issue here was you were, I think, at the Flow Rider. Ben and Blake were playing ping pong. Chris had already went to find a seat. So I'm the next one to try and go, and I don't run into Chris anywhere. I find a single seat. I'm like, all right, I'm putting my stuff here for now. Then I happen to see you and Ben go walking by, because we'll get to it. The Wi-Fi this cruise wasn't the best.
No.
But during this time and me trying to find a chair, my Wi-Fi wasn't working at all. So I wasn't able to message y'all to kind of like see where y'all were at. Like I said, happened to see y'all walking by. Y'all were able to snag some chairs. Blake snagged one with Chris. But yeah, I mean, the whole rest of the afternoon, we were just chilling in the pool this day.
We did find seats. So we
Yep.
did a couple of laps. We probably spent about 20 to 25 minutes, I would say, going up the upper deck, going down below, we could have sat in the solarium. It was hard to find 5 together. But
Yeah.
then we finally were like, okay, let's just try to find 2. We actually found 2 really good ones right by one of the pools that you like. I would say it's like one of the pools that has like a walk-in, like kind of like you can sit and the water is kind of like on
Yep.
the edge, like a beach kind of thing. So we actually had a really good spot, and we sat there honestly through pretty much the entire day. So we're like, once we find the spot, we're not giving it up. So we we actually grabbed El Loco Fresh. You and I did that.
Yeah.
I think the other guys went and grabbed something from
Hot dogs down
down hot dogs, which is also a good little snack, a little lunch on a sea day. But we pretty much sat the rest of the day in the pool with a drink. Pretty tough to beat for a sea day, honestly. It was great. Really, really good.
All right, so let's transition into food, Frank. We've already kind of mentioned some of the things we had on the sailing, whether it was the El Loco Fresh, the guys getting the hot dogs, obviously Sorrento's a lot. But our main dining room experience, like we said, night 1 was slow, but once we got moved to that next table, night 2, I thought it was great. Our assistant waiter, Gene, amazing.
They just went like above and beyond. I mean, the first night, you could just tell something was off. And I think that's worth knowing, that if you're going on a cruise and you are not satisfied on the first night, just talk to someone. Let someone know. They'll move you around. They probably have empty tables, but we did that. We said, we had to move because we weren't really assigned to a table. But, we got a new table, and the guys were just great. I mean, I think Ben on either the last night or the night before was like, hey, can I get some sorbet? And they literally went to like Chops. And the funny thing is, like, the cup that they brought was from Sugar Beach. So this guy went from the aft of the ship on deck 6 up to deck 8, got the sherbet from Chops, and then brought it down to deck 5. I mean, like 3 different floors across the ship to get in like 3 different neighborhoods to get this man. And then like, I think we told him we love the cheesy bread. He comes out on like one of the last days with like a huge basket of, it was like way too much bread at that point. Pillsbury Doughboy over here. But no, it was, they just did like, they went above and beyond.
Yeah, and even just chatting with them each night. Like, they Gene and our main waiter spent plenty of time just chatting with us about just life and future sailings coming up. And our head waiter each night would kind of give us the rundown on what was coming up the next day and what was going to be open for like breakfast in the morning and the dinner plans that following evening. So yeah, they were great. I had a great time sitting there each night. What would you say your favorite night was that we had for dinner?
I would actually say probably it's close between the Caribbean night and the French night, but I honestly might lean the French night. I really like the beef bourguignon that they had, and then obviously escargot. We had that a couple times.
Yep.
Really good. The desserts were really good that night. Honestly, French surprised me. I think the one that disappointed me the most was the Italian night, but it's so funny because, again, food is so subjective. Like, some people at our table didn't really love the lasagna. Then you go on Facebook and someone's like, best lasagna I've ever had in my life. So it's like hard to really give a good review on food because everyone just kind of grows up. Like, maybe it's not prepared lasagna like you've had in the past. Maybe that doesn't make it bad. Someone may think that's like amazing. So for me, it wasn't my favorite, but someone literally said it's the best. Now, I think still French night is probably my favorite, I would say.
Yeah, I think for me it was probably Caribbean night. I really like their bao bun tacos. I did the coconut shrimp as another appetizer. For my main, I did the tiger shrimp. And I mean, obviously, I like shrimp. I feel like that was the night. There's just a lot of options of that. And I would agree too with the Italian night. I mean, I got a chicken parm. It was good.
Yeah.
Nothing
special.
Yeah, amazing. Tiramisu for dessert. Good.
I liked it. I like it in that little cup.
Yeah.
Every night, Michael and I split an Indian dish, and honestly, that sometimes was the better dish out of all of them. So if you're into Indian food, order it. I mean, why not split it with some they bring out naan bread and stuff. It's really, really tasty.
Yeah, it's normally just either like a chicken curry or a lamb curry or something just with some rice. But yeah, we split that every night, and it was great. All right, so let's talk about an add-on we all added, the drink package.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
we got it on the Black Friday deal.
We did. 30% off, I think, a person. So, I mean, we've mentioned, I think, on this podcast, that's probably the best deal you're going to see Royal do is 30% off a person. Don't get fooled for the buy one, get one half off. It's not cheaper.
Yeah, it's not.
But, yeah, I mean, like we said, from day one to, I mean, day 1 and 2, I feel like any cruise you have the drink package, you hit it the hardest. And then you kind of, especially a 4-night, it kind of slows down towards the end. Obviously, a 7-night, you can slow down for a day or two and then kind of ramp it back up towards the end. But, like, the last night, I don't think I had a single drink after dinner. And the funny thing was, me and Chris were talking. That was the night we were, like, all up the latest.
Yeah.
Y'all playing in the casino and all that. But, no, I mean, I think for, obviously, a guy's trip, it was, we hit the value for sure. I mean, one of my goals going into it was to try more of the menu at the Schooner Bar. So I did that, tried probably an extra 4 or 5 drinks that I hadn't had there at that bar. And, yeah, I mean,
I'm excited for them to open up some new bar. I mean, even Playmakers has their own cocktails and stuff, but when they open up the Pesky Parrot Bar, that's going to be amazing. It's a full menu. You've got frozen with the peanut butter pina colada. You've got some really good drinks there, even on the rocks. So I think you feel that they're missing some of those drinks that you have on Utopia, or even some of the newer ships with Icon having pretty much a full menu of different drinks. Even at the karaoke bar had like their own drinks. So I'm excited to kind of see that being added to this ship during the dry dock. But yeah, to your point, we hit it hard day 1 and 2, and then day 3 and 4 really slow down. I don't know if I could do a drink package on a 7-night. I don't know. I feel like after that point, I'm just like, I'm forcing myself to just drink because I got the package. But the service was great. Bars were great.
Yeah.
Even in the Trellis Bar, that was probably some of the best service, as well as the Schooner Bar. I think those two were really good.
Well, that's the thing. I made friends with one of the bartenders, Jordan, the first night, and kind of just told him how to make the peanut butter and jelly old fashioned from Mason jar, and he made it for me every night, just about. And I'd do it over just the single block ice cube. And by the time the second night rolled around, he already knew, like, he's like, yeah, the Chambord screwball. I'm like, yep, and go and do it. And, yeah, it was great.
That's awesome. Let's talk about entertainment a little bit. It's Oasis class ship. There were a lot of shows. We had Blue Planet in the main. That was the first night. We had Blue Planet, which was a theater production. Thought it was pretty good. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10, 6 or 7 out of 10. It was like a lot of dancing and a lot of singing, and it was entertaining, and they had some really cool kind of like parts where they're jumping around on trampolines and doing flips and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. And then obviously we had the Aqua Show, which was really, really good. It's not every Aqua Show is so different. This one didn't have as much of like the high ropes, but more diving, I would say.
Yeah.
So like they did a lot more dives. And then you go on like Utopia, that one has like kind of a little bit of everything. So they're all different. Like if you've seen one, they're all like kind of different. So, and then we saw Mamma Mia, which I think was probably the highlight of the entertainment. What did you think about Mamma Mia?
I thought Mamma Mia was great. Like we said beforehand, I've never seen the show, never seen the Broadway production, and it was just fun. I mean, the music's super fun. Obviously, it's themed to Greece, and Greece just seems super cool to me.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've been there. But, I thought the show was great. Chris thought it was real great. He went back the next day.
I know.
And saw the first. They do two halves with a 15-minute intermission in the middle. So he went back that second day just to watch the first half again, and then came back and met us on the pool deck. But, yeah, Mamma Mia was great. It was probably my favorite Broadway show I've seen on a royal ship so far. I mean, I think I've only seen that in
Greece.
Yeah, no, I'd take Mamma Mia over Greece. I don't really remember Greece. And then one night we had comedy. Comedy was all right. They had 2 people perform that in the main theater. And then the last night we had the ice skating show, which felt different than some of the past ice skating shows I've seen. It was kind of like, how to describe it? Like
they picked their favorite songs. It was kind of
Yeah.
like they were like, well, we never got to skate to our song, so it's almost like the show where they got to pick their songs
I
and
want to know
dance.
if they actually got to pick the songs.
I don't think they did. I think they were just saying that they got to pick the songs.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing was like one of the girls came out at the start and kind of like introduced all of them and kind of explained, hey, like we've been like, this is our sport. We've been doing this all our life and we've competed at like some of the highest levels. So, I mean, that was cool to hear. All the shows, whether it's the Aqua show, the main theater productions, the Broadway, these people are talented at the end of the day. And a lot of them, there's not much more to say about that. They're just super talented. Most of them probably been doing it all their life and get to perform for guests weekly.
Yeah. Outside of the shows, obviously you had comedy, which we did once. It was okay, not amazing. I mean, I thought some parts were funny that you guys didn't think was funny, but that's okay. We don't need to hash it out here. I do think we did some other things. We did the Schooner Bar one night and enjoyed the Schooner Bar for a bit, probably like an hour or so at the Schooner Bar. Yeah. We did the pub we closed down the pub one of the nights. And then there weren't like a ton of game shows that we did. We just didn't really choose. They had them going on. We just didn't really go to them this time around. They didn't have the Love and Marriage show. I think they're only doing that on a 7 night. I've not really seen. I know.
Get it on the 4 nights.
I know. I love the Love and Marriage show. So that's definitely a downer. But overall, I thought entertainment was great. I think we both agreed that around 12:30, it died down, right? Around 12:30, 12:45, there wasn't anything else except for the club at that point.
I would say earlier than that. I mean, I wouldn't say this is like a complaint, but like, the first night, like the pub wasn't even open. We spent some time in karaoke.
Oh, that was good.
Which was, a good time. Obviously, we were able to kind of get in the pub some of the other nights. One of the nights, like the Schooner Bar was the one that was open much later, which just seemed odd because I feel like it's normally the pub. But like the night the pub was open the longest was the last night. And it wasn't even on the app at the time that it was open. Me and Chris just happened to be walking by. And I mean, when I say it was open pretty late, we sat there for a while, went over to karaoke. Karaoke ended, went back, and the pub still had a song or two to go. So overall, I mean, besides our like main show each night, we definitely found something to do. I just don't know if it's because it was a shorter sailing. Some of like the timings were just seemed a little different than what I'm used to.
Yeah,
on some of the other ones
I think we also stayed up later than I usually do on a cruise. But I agree with you. I think it seemed like it ended earlier than normal. So that's a fair. That was probably like one of the main cons on this one is just like you don't have as much going on in terms of live music. Like you're missing. I feel like you were really missing the Mason Jar compared to Utopia Wonder.
Yeah.
You have that. It's just like an extra venue. So.
But now what we may have missed in some entertainment, we spent some time in the casino this cruise.
Oh yeah, we definitely spent some time in the casino. Yeah. They took really good care of our friend Ben. I'm not gonna say how much he walked away with, but enough to make a nice purchase.
So mad that Blake was just hoping he was going to lose money.
Yeah, we all were like kind of rooting against Ben, but he just kept getting more and more.
Yeah.
So that was fun. We had a good time. I got Prime for the year, so if anyone else is Prime, it just means you get a free cruise for the year, any cruise that you want. So we need to talk about that on an episode. We'll do that. We'll break down the casino program. But going back to this one, the highlights for me, definitely the shows, the bar service, the service in general was a highlight. Like our cabin guy was amazing.
Ganesh. Yep. Shout out Ganesh.
Ganesh was amazing, as well as the crew in a dining room and in the bars and everything. Overall, it was really great getaway cruise.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, for a guy's trip, I mean, we took it probably a little slower than me and you would typically take our cruises. I mean, typically I'm more kind of go, but this cruise I kind of just went with the flow, what the other guys wanted to do. Obviously, like we had mentioned, Blake and Ben hadn't cruised in a while and hadn't cruised an Oasis class ship. Obviously, we've sailed with Chris before. I think the only one I was really questioning as a traveler was Ben, but ended up doing much better at the end of the day. So, yeah, at the end of the day, it was a fun guys trip, and I'm excited to do more in the future.
Yeah, hopefully this is a new tradition, and we get to get out for a guys trip at least once a year, but. Thank you again for listening, Michael. Thanks for jumping on that one with me. It's good since Scotty's sticking to her couple cruises a year that I can get her on with me, but we'll definitely do more in the future. And thanks again for listening to this episode. We got more coming, really good episodes coming up, so stay tuned for that.
And the vlogs, Frank, obviously we recorded some vlogs on this ship. You still got some of your Icon ones coming out?
Yeah, I think that one will be coming out. I know this episode will be coming out on Wednesday, so probably this following weekend. When this episode comes out, we'll at least have episode 2 ready. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that you're following along on Instagram. We'll let you know that one's out. But yeah, stay tuned for YouTube content coming if you want to see what it's like to be on board a ship with Michael and I. With that, make sure you reach out if you want us to look at cruise pricing. Right now, there's a lot of promos going on across all the lines, free onboard credit, free specialty dining going on. So we'd love to do that for you. Again, our number is 704-313-8556. And with that, we look forward to seeing you back here next Wednesday.